For Troy Aikman, last week's setback proved to be very costly. But that setback was only temporary as he returns to the starting lineup. Quarterback Brett Favre as the front smiles to Green Bay, still looking to become among the elite. The Packers have taken a major step forward with the league's #1 defense. A defense which will be severely tested today in Texas. A brilliant day in Texas as you look at legendary Texas Stadium. Inside, the Packers come to town to face the Cowboys. A battle of first-place teams, and somehow that has a strange sound to it. John, first-place teams battling each other. As I said, that has a sort of a strange ring to it. What do you think is going to take really to settle this contest?
I think it's going to be in line play. I mean, I love these kind of games where, you know, we can talk about the quarterbacks and the running backs and the great wide receivers, but it's all going to boil down to how the lines do. You know, we heard Troy Aikman say in the pregame show that he can't run. And if he gets any pressure on him, he's not going to be in the game. So that offensive line of the Cowboys has to block today like they've never blocked before.
And in talking with the Packers and Mike Holmgren yesterday, I got the feeling, and I'm sure you did too, that they feel better about themselves, perhaps more confident than they have in a long time.
Well, they do feel very confident. Of course, part of it is they remember that they were beaten by this team on Thanksgiving Day. But the thing that they feel confident about is that they scored 4 touchdowns against them. But again, their offensive line has to be able to handle that defensive line. Now, Charles Haley may not play for the Cowboys. If he doesn't play today, then that's going to be a lot easier game for the Green Bay Packers. They have to be able to run a little, but they have to be able to protect Brett Favre on offense. Then on defense, they have to do something to control Emmitt Smith.
So coming up, it's the Green Bay Packers and the Dallas Cowboys from Texas Stadium. And John and I'll be back for the opening kickoff when Fox NFL Sunday continues after these messages from your local station. You're at Texas Stadium for the opening kickoff. Craig Henfrick will kick off, although Chris Jackie is available for the Packers. Back deep, Kevin Williams and Brock Marion for the Cowboys. Henfrick. Line drive kick bounces past Kevin Williams out of the end zone. The Cowboys will take over at their own 20, and Troy Aikman will open at quarterback. Somewhat of a miracle after the injury last week in Washington. In front of him, the biggest, perhaps the best offensive line in the NFL. 2-A Newton, Donaldson, Larry Allen, and Eric Williams. In the backfield with Aikman, Emmitt Smith, Darrell Johnston, Kevin Williams, and Michael Irvin wide, and Jay Novacek, the tight end. Irvin comes wide right from the 20 with Aikman at quarterback. The Cowboys will go to work. Emmitt Smith. Packer pursuit is excellent. Fred Strickland out to make the hit. Let's look at the Packer defense. #1 in the NFL. Sean Jones, Yurkovich, Gabe Wilkins, and Reggie White, the front 4. The 3 linebackers, Kuntz, Strickland in the middle, and Wayne Simmons. Secondary, bigger, stronger this year. Evans, Teague, Butler, and Newsom. 2nd and 11. Emmitt Smith lost a yard. Aikman to Emmitt Smith. A gain of about 8. Strickland with a stop.
That's the thing about Emmitt Smith. He can do it running or he can do it catching. Here's going to be one of the biggest matchups of the day, Pat. You got Reggie White going against Eric Williams, one of the best defensive linemen in the game and one of the best offensive linemen in the game. You see that? He tried to use his club on Eric Williams, and he didn't budge Big Eric.
3 wide receivers. That's Novacek, the move man. Aikman gives to Smith. Not enough for the first down as Reggie White saw it coming.
And that's the guy that you got to get blocked wherever you're going to run the ball. The again, as you say, here's Reggie. He's going to see that thing. It's an inside run. He starts to the outside, and then instead of going up the field, he comes right down the line of scrimmage. And when Reggie gets his hands on you, you are down, and the next thing you need your punt team.
John Jets, the punter, hasn't had a lot of activity this year. Charles Jordan back deep for the Packers.
I see that.
Jet, good kick. Jordan at the 22, sheds one man. The Cowboys covered quickly. Dale Hellestray down under the kick. He was also the snapper. Jordan, it appears, will stay in the game. A 50-yard punt, an 8-yard return. Brett Favre's the Packer quarterback. 5th year from Southern Mississippi. In front of him, Rutgers, Taylor, Winters, Galbraith, and Earl Dotson. Edgar Bennett's the runner. William Henderson, Morgan, Brooks, Shimura. They open with 4 wide receivers. No tight end.
I wouldn't be surprised if they would run from this formation.
Bennett, nothing.
The Cowboys weren't surprised either that they ran from that formation.
Charles Haley is not starting. That was Russell Maryland who made the tackle. Haley has been replaced by Shante Carver. Lett, Maryland, and Tolbert, the rest of the defensive line. The linebackers, Miles, Jones, and Dixon Edwards. And the secondary, Brown, Brock Marion, Darren Woodson, Clayton Holmes. 2nd and 10. Favre to throw it to Anthony Morgan, about 8.
I tell you, that's going to be a big thing if Charles Haley doesn't play. You know, for a couple reasons. One, he's probably the best pass rusher in football. But 2, the Packers, if Charles Haley is in there, they're going to double him every time, either with a tight end or a running back. Now, if Haley's not in there, that means they can get another guy out in the pass pattern, either that running back or tight end that was going to help block Charles Haley.
4 wide receivers again, 3rd and 2. Bennett close to a first down. He might have it, and maybe not.
And that's the thing that Barry Switzer has to think about. I mean, you know, Charles Haley didn't practice during the week. He said last week, if you don't practice, you're not going to play. He felt that his defensive line didn't play well last week, but I still think you don't put Charles Haley in that group. To me, he's the best, and he has to be out there in the field because he raises havoc like no one raises havoc.
He doesn't look as if he's going to participate.
Well, I saw him before. He came by the bus before the game, and he said, I may not play at all today.
Well, anytime you see a guy with his thumbs hooked in his belt, you figure he's not going to play.
And he doesn't have either his hat on his head or in his hand. That's another indicator.
1st and 10, Green Bay.
1st and 10, Packers. Just shy of the Packer 40.
Mike Holmgren, of course, has a script. We talked to him last night just before he scripted his first 15 plays of this game.
1 setback, 3 wide receivers. Favre gives to Bennett. Edgar Bennett gets about 3 yards.
See what the Packers are trying to do is get in passing formations like that formation, 3 wide receivers, earlier 4 wide receivers, and run from passing formation. And then go to 2 tight ends or tighter formations that are usually running formations and pass from those formations.
Now they go with 2 tight ends, and they figure, at least they all told us yesterday, one thing we've got to be able to do is run the ball. Because everybody says that.
But I would think they'll pass from this formation.
Favre back to throw it. Pass is caught by Anthony Morgan. And that'll be enough for a first down for Green Bay.
And that's where they want to work. They want to work.
Excuse me, John, go ahead.
I was just saying they want to work out here on Clayton Holmes. He's the guy that's been having problems there, and you can see here he gives a pretty big cushion. He's off about 5 or 6 yards. Morgan breaks, and he still has that 5-yard cushion on Clayton Holmes.
Brett Favre's got a great arm. He can really fire it.
And he likes to fire it. You know, I think that he would rather throw a real hard, incomplete pass that goes into the stands than sometimes a real little soft completion.
There's Deion Sanders looking on. Favre to Bennett. Stopped finally by Robert Jones, but good yardage.
See, that's the advantage of what Mike Holmgren's doing here, scripting those first 15 plays, is that, one, he can give them a lot of formations early and see the adjustments. Two, he can make all his decisions on the first 15 plays that he's going to call, so that removes all the anxiety. And then three, all the players know what they're going to do, and they feel pretty confident about this first 15 plays.
And he tries to keep it balanced. He doesn't always get that accomplished, but he tries for balance. William Henderson, the ball carrier. Nothing doing. Shante Carver in place of Haley out to make the stop.
That play didn't have a chance. You see Shante Carver is here. He's going to get some penetration here. And anytime you get in the backfield on defense, anytime you get on their side of the line of scrimmage, right there, then they don't have a chance to run to that side. There's no way that play had a chance.
Brings up third and about 6. 4 wide receivers again for Green Bay. Favre back to throw it. Pumps behind Brooks, and he was open.
Oh, that would have been a big play. Bill Bates was on him, but Brooks had Bill Bates beaten by a couple of steps, and Favre just didn't get it to him. Here's a guy you wonder, Bill Bates. He's been here. Seems like every time we've done a Cowboy game, Bill Bates has been down there, running down on kicks, playing on nickel. Always gets bigger and stronger and faster every year as he gets older.
He says.
The Packers only had 10 guys out there on their punt coverage team. They just sent in the 11th.
Craig Hentrick back to punt. Kevin Williams deep for the Cowboys. Hendrick got the high kick that he wanted. It just depends on the bounce. Green Bay bounce, and they've down it inside the 5. Marcus Wilson down it. The Cowboys start deep in their own territory. 0-0 score, first quarter.
If everyone's ready, I'd like to get started.
Back in Texas. Get a look at some of the neighboring spreads. Dallas ball at their own 4-yard line, 1st and 10. Emmitt Smith standing about 5 yards deep in the end zone. Troy Aikman, the quarterback. No score yet. Emmitt behind Darrell Johnston gets a little room out to about the 9.
You know, one of the things Reggie White was saying last night that the Green Bay Packers want to do is they want to push the Cowboy offensive line backward. And I thought, I kind of laughed to myself. I didn't laugh to Reggie. I said, well, you're not going to be able to do that. And he just did it. He just took Eric Williams on the run. And this is what they're doing. They're playing like short yardage. Now watch him. He's just going to go in here and just go square. And you see him just get up and just push him right into the backfield. Then Emmitt Smith had to run around Eric Williams.
Which Emmitt can't do. Emmitt again. Not much. Right now for a McDonald's game break, let's return to James Brown in the Hollywood studio.
Pat, we talked about the Eagles' ground game being 6th in the NFL. The reason why, Ricky Waters and this Charlie Garner, 55 yards to pay dirt. That on the opening series for the Eagles. They lead the Skins 7-0. Back to Dallas, Pat and John.
No score at Texas Stadium. The Packers and the Cowboys 3rd and 6, 3 wide receivers. Aikman says he can't back out from under center. He can turn sideways, which he does. Not enough for a first down. Kevin Williams made the reception. He caught the pass, but not enough. And Aikman's upset, and so is Kevin Williams.
Yeah, he's probably upset at Kevin Williams for not running the pass pattern deep enough, or for himself and not finding someone else that was open deep enough. I think the big thing is he got through these first couple series and the calf injury is holding up. But he hasn't been forced out of the pocket yet either.
He says he can't run. John Jett has punted one time already. Another good kick for Jet. Chases Jordan all the way back to the 32-yard line of Green Bay. And he's hustled out of bounds in front of the Packer bench. 0-0. The score at Texas Stadium as the sun starts to take over the field. And we have 6 minutes and 3 seconds left in the first quarter.
The murder was just the beginning.
What's going on over there?
The shocking truth on an all-new Simpsons tonight at 8, 7 Central.
You know, the Cowboys have a following, so do the Packers. And if it gets much warmer, it might be down the side of his head.
Well, you know, you wonder about these guys that wear these cheese heads. You know that when you're in Green Bay, you know that you expect to see them a lot, but you don't expect them to see them in Dallas. I mean, how do you bring them from Wisconsin here?
Favre gets it outside to Brooks. Hit by Darren Woodson.
Yeah, because probably when they're in Wisconsin, they wear those things. And, you just get up in the morning, you say, well, I think I'm going to wear some cheese in my head.
Well, it won't melt.
Yeah, you just kind of go to the game. But when you have to go to the game in Dallas, then someone has to pack the cheese.
And you might turn out to be fondue.
Really always saying, who packed the cheese?
2nd and 6. Edgar Bennett cross midfield into Cowboy territory. A pickup of about 3, hit by Robert Jones. Still no Charles Haley.
And just looking at Charles Haley on the sideline, and just if you can read body language at all, I'm not saying that I can, but that body language says that he's not going to play today, or he's not ready to play now, or he's not going to play in this first half anyway. Maybe there'll be some kind of halftime adjustment.
I get that impression.
But it's a lot easier playing the Cowboy defense when Charles Haley's on the sideline.
Third down. Favre throw. Brooks again. First down, Green Bay.
Yeah, that's the Packers' new go-to guy, Robert Brooks. And I think that Brett Favre right now in football can throw this pattern where he runs, and you see Brooks just runs a short out, and he should be getting a block there, and it could have been a bigger play, but Favre ran a sprint out play. And watch him just take off now. This is going to be a sprint out. He's going to sprint out to the right. See him? He just takes off. And I think that he could throw on the run better than any quarterback in the game today.
4 wide receivers for the Packers again. Bennett gets the carry and gets not very far. Russell Maryland saw that one coming.
That's what we talked about, controlling the line of scrimmage. Control the line of scrimmage means keeping those guys back on their side. You can't allow penetration. Watch the penetration that Russell Maryland gets. Of course, they're going to try and trap it. The center tries to block back on him. There's no way that he is going to get him.
Too quick.
Now, Frank Winters is not going to block back on Russell Maryland when his guard pulls.
Not going to cut him off. You stay out there a long time trying to do that.
I think that's one of those plays. Are they still in the script? If they're still in the script, I'd cross that one out.
Favre. Pass is picked off by Godfrey Miles. Miles gets it to midfield. He saw that one coming too.
And Favre had to make that tackle, or Godfrey Miles would still be running. This woke up this crowd. This crowd was quiet until this play.
3:36 left in the first. The Cowboys ball at midfield.
Well, here's Godfrey Miles right here. You see, he's just playing zone defense. He's starting to the outside. Favre was trying to run a slant. Godfrey Miles started back, and then he went, and he's going to get in that lane. You see, he gets in the lane between Favre and the receiver, and Favre throws it right to him.
Favre makes the tackle, and watch his reaction. Late night Saturday is about to get funny again. Beginning October the 14th, nothing is sacred and no one is safe. Get ready to laugh because Mad TV is coming to late night Saturday on Fox. Miles' interception gives the Cowboys the ball in good shape. Close to midfield. Novacek was the man in motion. Aikman back to throw it. Flag on the play. Irvin made the reception.
Yeah, one thing last night all the Packers were talking about is you can't have turnovers when you play the Cowboys. And of course, they're the first one to have a turnover. And they usually, you know, when momentum starts, or bad things start going against you, you know, they get a turnover, then in the first play, now they get a penalty against them.
Red Cashin.
Face mask, number 36 on the defense, 5 yards, still first down.
Nobody says first down like Red.
And he always says it better for the home team. There's the face mask right there. Leroy Butler grabbing the face mask. And again, it was just one of the 5-yard varieties. The 15-yard variety is when you hold on, twist or turn. The 5-yard variety is where you just kind of incidentally do it. But they got about first and nothing.
First down, it looks like about a yard to go. Aikman back to throw. Gets it to Irvin. Irvin does a little dance. Doug Evans. Right now for a game break, let's return to James Brown in our Hollywood studio.
Hey, Pat, this is what Dave Wanstead's been looking for. The arm of Eric Kramer and the deep threat Curtis Conway. 41-yard hookup draped by Tyrone Poole, but it's a score. 7-0 Chicago. Back to Pat and John.
0-0 score at Texas Stadium in Irving. 2 tight ends for the Cowboys. Novacek lined up left. Emmitt Smith going in that direction and not finding much room.
Emmitt Smith will allow the 27-yard line.
Yeah, that was a good play on that first down. They had first and a yard. And you know the way Ernie Zampese, the offensive coordinator of the Cowboys, calls plays. He's not just going to run the ball and get a first down. He goes play pass, gets the linebackers up in there, which I was surprised they'd even go for, and then throws the ball to Michael Irvin. There's Ernie right here with he got the old pens going in the right hand to kind of calm himself down. But I'm surprised that he didn't go for the deep one there.
Yep, me too.
Because, you know, first and a yard is a free play.
2nd and 8. Aikman back. Hit just as he let it go. The pass is complete to Novacek. Aikman got up slowly, but he got up.
And that was Sean Jones. He went right by Mark Tuinei. Sean Jones is right up here. So it's going to be pressure from Troy Aikman's backside. You see Mark Tuinei, 71, trying to block him. He just goes right by him. Hits Troy right as he throws the ball. Protection in the middle was pretty good. The protection on the other side was pretty good. But they didn't get Sean Jones. But Sean Jones didn't get Aikman before he got rid of the ball.
1st and 10. Aikman will throw again. Wheels it outside to Novacek. Novacek, a gain of about 8, knocked out of bounds by Evans.
Yeah, you watch Troy Aikman and you know that he has a good arm and he's strong and he's smooth and he's smart, but I tell you, he's tough too. I mean, you know, to come back and the way he's done is to know that he's just a target back there. You know, he's just a sitting target.
A sitting target.
A sitting target, yeah. And those defensive ends are just taking a point right at where he's going to be, and he just stands in there and flicks that ball out of there.
He's hit every pass he's thrown. Emmitt Smith. Emmitt to about the 2. That'll be a first down. 1st and goal from that point. Fred Strickland made the stop.
Now the Packers said if you can't stop Emmitt Smith, if you can't stop the run, you can't stop anything. This big Cowboy offensive line is starting to take over now. Larry Allen made a heck of a block, and then Moose Johnston comes in and gets a good lead block.
Larry Allen gets better and better.
He's going to be one of the best guards in this league. Big Eric Williams just left a little early on that one. So he had someplace he had to go.
Before the snap, false start, number 79 on the offense, 5 yards, still first down.
Watch this. You have to wait until the ball snap. Big Eric knows the snap count. He just forgot it. He had someplace to go. I have no idea where he's going unless he's going about 3 guys across to get that middle linebacker.
That had to be what was going.
Now this is pretty good to run behind. Look at this. That's like a 3/4 ton pickup.
Plus
1,500 pounds that offensive line weighs. Then you put Stone in there now. I think they're a ton.
that's the end of the first quarter. No score, but the Cowboys inside the Packer 5.
Well, in reinventing the
boyfriend, and I am very close to alerting her to that fact.
2-something after The Simpsons tonight.
Fox NFL Sunday is brought to you by Dr. Pepper and your local Dr. Pepper bottler. Dr. Pepper is just what the doctor ordered.
Nothing score. First down, Cowboys at about the 7. Akiman gives to Emmitt Smith, and he's hit behind the line of scrimmage. Darius Holland. He almost didn't keep him down long enough.
I know, because only if the whistle blows. I mean, the guy's not down till the whistle blows.
You can celebrate, but you can celebrate a little too soon sometimes.
Holland is number 90. You say again, he gets the penetration right there, and he gets him down there. Now his hand is down. You know, his knees never did touch the ground. So you don't know. It's when the whistle blows. The whistle shouldn't have blown, but of course if the whistle blows, and that's probably what Holland heard. He probably heard the whistle blow.
Maybe. Akiman. Novacek.
Troy Aikman was perfect on this drive. 5 out of 5. Hey, we talked about the line. No, the line has done its job. Other than Sean Jones hitting Troy Aikman that one time after he completed a pass, they've kept him pretty clean.
Touchdown, Akiman to Novacek. Boniol for the extra point now. Novacek holding. Cowboys lead 7-0. 14-13 left to play in the first half at Texas Stadium.
On the butt when they fail and celebrate like madmen when they succeed. Starter, it's about team.
Watch this touchdown play. Here's Jay Novacek. Leroy Butler would normally cover him. He's going to come on a blitz. George Teague has to come over to cover Novacek. He doesn't get proper position, and then he misses a tackle. See, here comes Teague. Novacek makes a move on him. Teague misses a tackle. Novacek scores. But you see Emmitt Smith, he's the guy that picked up Butler on that blitz.
And you can see by the look downs that the Packers guessed wrong. Boniol's kick sails to Charles Jordan. Jordan to about the 26. Don't forget, next week it's exciting NFL doubleheader action when the 49ers take on the Colts. The Cowboys battle the Chargers, plus other exciting regional action. All begins at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. Check your local listings for the game and time in your area. John and I will be in San Diego
with these same Dallas Cowboys again next week. You know, it just shows what a turnover does, though. The Packers were playing pretty well. They were moving the ball a little. They were stopping the Cowboys. Brett Favre throws that interception, and then the Cowboys just get the ball and go and score a touchdown with it.
Well, that's another sign of a good team that can take advantage of turnovers. Here's Favre back to throw. Screen pass coming. Leroy. Edgar Bennett. Bennett takes the screen pass. Stopped, tripped up finally by Brock Marriott.
Every coach tries to have some momentum changers, and one of these momentum changers is a screen pass. You see Edgar Bennett comes up, fakes like he's going to block. He gets his lineman out in front of him, his center and his guard out in front of him. They get a couple of blocks, and then they just screen the ball right down the sideline for a first down. But that's a good momentum changer.
Mike Holmgren was saying yesterday he tries to put in his script. He tries to put a screen. He tries to put a reverse. And he tries to keep balance otherwise as Leon Lett jumps.
But that does take, you know, because what happens is defense comes out, they've just scored, they've had a turnover, they're all fired up.
For the snap, encroachment, number 78, 5 yards, still first down.
That's Leon Lett right here, encroached before the snap. Of course, if it's after the snap, it wouldn't be encroachment, would it?
No, it'd be fine.
Yeah, it'd be fine. That's kind of a...
If it's too much after the snap, he won't be playing.
It's kind of saying something twice that could be said once.
1st and 5. Packers at their own 47. First down, it appeared. Darren Woodson.
Yeah, one of the things that Mike Holmgren talked about was having a balanced script, and we see here the first 15 plays he ran 8 and he passed 7. And he said that's what he would like to get. And then you kind of see how they're going to play the pass, what their coverages are, what their fronts are going to be with the run. You use different formations, and then on your second 15 plays, you try and make adjustments off that.
1st and 10, 3 wide receivers and a tight end, 1 back. The 1 back gets the ball. And he's wrapped up by Tony Tolbert. And right now, let's send you back to McDonald for McDonald's game break to Hollywood.
Hey, Pat, a big weakness of Philadelphia's kick coverage. Take a look. Brian Mitchell. Jimmy Johnson said he'd have a big day. I think this qualifies. 59-yard punt return, his 6th punt return for a score. All tied less than 2 in the first. Back to Pat and John.
7-0 at Texas Stadium. 2nd and 7. Green Bay ball at the Dallas 43. Cowboys leading. Favre to throw it. Incomplete. He looked to Brooks. He saw Leon Lett looking at him.
Well, I think you don't have a lot of time with Leon Lett coming up the middle on you. You look to the right, and I think Brooks was his secondary receiver on that. But when you get big Leon Lett, who's one of the best pass rushers in the game, coming up the field on you, you can look once and maybe go to a second receiver, but you can't do much more than that. See, you look to the right now, he had to get rid of the ball or he was going to get decked.
Right. 3rd down. They need 7 for a first, and Favre will try to get it thrown. Does to Brooks. Scott Case made the stop on Brooks.
And with Leon Lett coming up the middle, in fact, Leon Lett's going out of the game right now. One thing the Cowboys do is they rotate their defensive linemen. Without Leon Lett in there and without Charles Haley in there, those are their 2 best pass rushers. And if I were the Packers and I was going to pass, I'd be doing it right now.
They have Chad Hennings. The Cowboys do have Chad Hennings and Russell Maryland inside at the tackles now.
And Scott Case is in at safety.
Favre. Brooks incomplete. Flag down. Clayton Holmes chasing Robert Brooks.
Yeah, Clayton Holmes was in his zone, and again, he was bumping Robert Brooks, and you can bump him for 5 yards, but not after
Illegal
5.
contact, number 47 by the defense, 5 yards, first down.
See, they're the only 2 guys in the sunlight right here, so you can see him coming down, and you see him, he does a stop and then a go, and then Clayton Holmes hit him right there.
Yep.
And that was after 5 yards. But Clayton Holmes, I'll say this thing for him, he didn't bite on the stop, did he? He started to come up a little, and then he took a bump where you can't have a bump.
First down, Packers. The Dallas 29. Favre changing the plays. Outside Brooks. Cut quickly by Holmes.
I'm surprised that was what he changed it to, because what he saw out here was he saw Clayton Holmes out here. Right here you see him, he's kind of uptight here on Brooks, so that's what he sees. But I'm surprised he audibleized to just a short pattern. Yeah, I'm surprised that if you're going to take advantage of him being out there or run something, that you're going to get something. I tell you, Robert Brooks did take a shot right here. Watch how he has that right leg planted, and that knee joint almost went where it's not supposed to go.
Could be setting up something. Incomplete again, intended for Brooks. Scott Case and Brock Marion.
Yeah, Scott Case is in there for Darren Woodson. I wonder if Woodson is injured. Woodson's coming back now, I guess, but you see the coverage here. Brock Marion is now playing the strong safety. You see Clayton Holmes going back here. They're just zoning this 4 straight across, and he just throws a ball in there pretty good.
Woodson's playing like a linebacker. 4 wide receivers. Brooks in motion. Favre back to throw again. Chased by left. Screen pass was set up pretty well. Intended for Bennett, who dropped it.
Maybe it's good to give Leon Lett a rest now, and then they let him go in and rest. The Packers had time on the 3rd down play. On the 2nd down play, they bring Leon Lett back in for the 3rd down play, and Brett Favre didn't have any time again.
So it's 4th down, and Chris Jackie comes on.
Brett Favre's thinking that Aaron Taylor better start blocking Leon Lett on these passing plays.
Jackie's been hurt. A week off did him a world of good. His first field goal attempt this season. And it is true. The Packers get on the board. 10:06 left in the 2nd quarter. 42-yard field goal by Jackie at 7-3.
Our German engineers could have road tested the new Porsche 911 Carrera 4 back home in Germany. They could have taken the 270 horsepower engine out on the Autobahn again, or driven the Black Forest with the all-wheel drive and radical suspension. They could have done all that back home. But then, they wouldn't have gotten all this neat stuff.
For years, people have done their thinking on the run. Now, they can do their business on the run.
Good-looking livestock in the area. Belongs to a friend of ours. We'll let you know who it belongs to.
And he's probably watching it.
I'm sure he is.
See what a pass rusher does after he pass rushes, he goes and gets some oxygen.
That's Kevin Williams returning the kickoff. With 9:57 left in the first half, it's Dallas 7, Green Bay 3.
No one can save you now.
Hey, bet we could.
Fools, we will defeat you and take your Miller Lite. Not if we choose the weapon. Paper football, very clever. You kick off.
It's good. We are saved.
When you've got the great taste of an ice-cold Miller Lite, life is good. You are worthy opponents. Let us celebrate. I know a good sports bar around the corner. Life is good.
We're about to meet Freddy Fast Food. Hey guys, what's in the bag?
McDonald's juicy quarter pounder with cheese. 2 for $2, Mr. Half-size halfback.
Hey, I'll trade your autograph for me.
No way, Mr. Rushmeister.
Now at McDonald's, convert $2 into 2 quarter pounders with cheese only for a limited time.
Season tickets.
Got him.
Skybox?
Guys, this year, we're going to win it.
Yeah.
No one is leaving this room until we figure out how. No one.
Not going anywhere for a while? Grab a Snickers, because nothing holds you over better. Hungry? Why wait?
The legendary Nürburgring. It sounds crazy, but they let anyone drive on this world-famous racetrack for just a few Deutschmarks. It was here that Porsche engineers tested our new 911 Turbo. Lap after lap of the new 400 horsepower engine, the twin turbos, the liquid all-wheel drive. What did we learn? Well, don't send a German engineer here with an ATM card.
Alien Nation is back with an all-new world premiere movie.
100 times more dangerous than nuclear warheads.
Alien Nation, Body and Soul, Tuesday on Fox.
Back at Texas Stadium, Pat Summerall with John Madden. The Cowboys leading the Green Bay Packers 7-3. Dallas ball at their own 30. Michael Irvin comes wide left. Kevin Williams goes wide right. Aikman goes back to throw it. Irvin into Packer territory. Stopped by Doug Evans.
You know, the amazing thing about Aikman, he's been perfect today, Pat.
Yeah.
I mean, here's a guy that gets hurt, doesn't practice, takes all the snaps on Friday, and then comes in, and he's been perfect. He's 8 for 8. And at all areas, I mean, the short ones, the medium ones, the deep ones, wherever he throws it, it's worked thus far.
2 tight ends this time. Emmitt Smith. First down, Cowboy. Newsom made the stop. Boy, does he pop through there in a hurry.
You see big Eric Williams, he's out there in front. He's giving the sign. He's going to make a block right here, and then he's going to run up, and he's going to signal first down himself. He goes out, he gets Reggie, he pushes him to the outside. They get that crease in that right side, and Eric Williams comes running up and goes first down. Watch him block, 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 block. Now you look, then you follow your guy up, and you say, okay, what do we got here? Then you get the first down signal.
Emmitt Smith almost broke another one. Gets inside the 35 to about 33 in Green Bay territory.
You know, until this drive, though, Emmitt Smith had only had 7 yards. He had 7 carries and 7 yards, and you know, that doesn't mean anything. I remember Darrell Johnston saying that when you look at Emmitt Smith, you never look at his stats until the game's over. You don't start doing projections after the first quarter.
Second down. Aikman still perfect. Irvin stopped by Doug Evans. Move the chains.
This is just an amazing thing, this Troy Aikman. I mean, coming back here and having that injury and just being so smooth and so confident. I mean, it looks like, you know, Irvin knows what he's going to do. Aikman knows what he's going to do. Emmitt Smith knows what he's going to do. The offensive line knows what he's going to do. And now it looks like the Green Bay Packers are starting to know what he's going to do, and they don't like it.
But he still does it.
That's when you're on top of your game.
Emmitt Smith. That last little spin got him inside the 20.
Yeah, that last little spin was off my man Nate Newton. He was following his left guard, Nate Newton, into the hole.
Good man to follow.
Yeah, big old Nate was pulling around there, and Emmitt was saying, I'm going to follow Nate. He got a little too close to him because he ran right into him. Watch Nate here. He's gonna pull right here. Number 61. And watch here. Here comes Emmitt. He's going to follow Nate. Boom! He just runs right into his backside. That'll knock you down.
Packers jumped. Aikman has the pass batted down, looking for Novacek, but Gabe Wilkins might have jumped off sides.
Before the ball was snapped.
Yes.
That's what they'll tell you.
That's the key.
Jumped off sides before the ball was snapped.
Offside. Number 98 on the defense. 5 yards. Still second down.
Gabe Wilkins was the guy that jumped off sides, but he was also the guy that batted the ball down.
Yep. Well, that gives you an edge.
Yeah, this is what happens when you get an edge. You get that close to the quarterback and you jump that high and you knock the ball down. But it doesn't count.
2nd and 3. Emmitt Smith down at about the 14. Wayne Simmons made the tackle.
George Coombs, number 53, Wayne Simmons, number 59, leading the defensive charge for the Packers.
Yeah, this offensive line is starting to do a job. This offensive line of the Dallas Cowboys. Williams is out now. Eric Williams, he's on the sideline. You know, he had that knee reconstructive surgery, and then he tore a calf muscle.
Ron Stone has taken his place. 2 tight ends. Emmitt gets the carry. Bounced off one and squirmed down to about the 7.
That's when a runner never stops. You see who he bounced off? He bounced off of Reggie White. Reggie White comes down the line, and you're going to see 92 come in there, and he's going to make the hit. Boom! There's Reggie right there. He lowers a boom, and instead of knocking Emmitt Smith down, he knocks him sideways. Emmitt keeps his feet going and gets a first down. That's why great running backs always keep their feet moving.
Did you see him cover up the ball when he felt the contact coming?
Well, Reggie White's going to be bringing about a 300-pound load down that line to put on that ball.
Williams is back at right offensive tackle. And Emmitt Smith gets another carry to about the 5, where he's pulled backwards by Fred Strickland.
Yeah, that's the thing about this Dallas offense. We talk about, you know, the offensive line had to do their job. They're doing their job. But there's no one thing you can take away. I mean, if you say, well, we got to rush Troy Aikman, and then they're just going to hand it to Emmitt, and he's going to get in there behind this offensive line. If you're going to say we got to gang up and take away Emmitt Smith, then Troy's going to get back there. Troy Aikman is going to get back there and just throw the ball to Michael Irvin and Jay Novacek all day.
2nd and goal from the 5. Novacek moves to his right. Aikman gives again to Emmitt Smith. Emmitt taken down by Reggie White. Emmitt dipped inside, and Reggie didn't bite.
That is a great tackle for a big man. Yeah, because that was darn near an open field tackle. And you don't see that often. Watch Reggie White here. Mostly those big linemen, they just grab something and try and hold on. But when you get in this position right there that Reggie White was in, that was an open field tackle. And he didn't go for that little move to the inside. He made a great play there.
3rd and goal at the 6. Aikman will throw it in a hurry up high. Intended for Michael Irvin.
That has to be on Michael Irvin.
Yeah, he pushed.
Yeah, he did.
He pushed.
He was on Leroy Butler. And Michael Irvin pushes as well or better than anyone in this league. But they had to see that one.
Against Dallas, against Michael Irvin.
Yeah, he's saying he didn't. He'll argue with it. He's still arguing with Deion Sanders about that one in the championship game with the 49ers a year ago.
And now they're teammates. Like Red's going to say something else.
Pass interference, number 88 on the offense. That penalty is declined. 4th down.
So Bonio will come on. Michael Irvin's going to argue a while.
Yeah, here he is right there. Now the ball's in the air, and he pushes him right there. I think what he's saying is he just had his hand on him, and Newsome fell down. But he does have his hand on him.
No question. Novacek holding.
A rookie.
Novacek holding. From 24 yards out. Bonio's field goal was good. 10-3 Dallas with 3:58 left in the first half. Our Aflac trivia question: when was the last time Green Bay beat Dallas in a playoff game? And who were the 2 quarterbacks? When's the last time Green Bay beat Dallas in the playoffs? Who were the leaders?
Let's have a big hand for the Cooking with Terry and Howie show.
Today's recipe: 1 bag of Lay's, pour into bowl. Let's stand. Here's one I prepared earlier.
And for you advanced cooks, I recommend wavy Lay's. Great with guacamole.
Next week, flaming kebab. For today's recipe, write the Lay's and Wavy Lay's potato chips. Bet you can't eat just one.
Presenting the ultimate tire for your sport utility vehicle.
2nd quarter, 3:58 left before the half. Bonio will kick off. And deep for the Packers, Travis Jervey and Charles Jordan. Short kick this time. Jordan. Good coverage by the Cowboys.
Let's watch this play again, and you can see Michael Irvin has his hand, and right there he pushes Newsome just a little, then he goes up for the ball. Then you go in the sideline, there's Deion Sanders, and Sanders is playing like he's Newsome. and showing. Then you go back to January 15th in the championship. Here's the play that they didn't call pass interference on, and you saw Deion's hand in there.
They're still arguing about it.
And they're still talking about it. This was the two of them at practice this week talking about that play. So Michael Irvin and pushing off or not pushing off or pass interference is a subject discussed every day, every way.
Favre gets it to Brooks. Room. Brooks tripped up by Godfrey Miles. Morgan, I believe, not Brooks.
That's one thing about Brett Favre. You know, he has a lot of confidence. And when something happens, he's just going to keep playing. He's just going to keep coming. And we see here he has pretty good protection. Brooks runs across. He finds Brooks on the cross. And then Brooks is a pretty good runner. I think he probably learned that from Sterling Sharp, too, that you run after you catch the ball. Now, there's Charles Haley.
As Morgan has got the block, Brooks had made the reception. This is Edgar Bennett. Jones on the tackle. Here again, our Aflac trivia question. The last time Green Bay beat Dallas in the playoffs, and who were the quarterbacks? The Ice Bowl, the very famous Ice Bowl, December 31st, 1967. Bart Starr was the Green Bay quarterback. He threw 2 touchdown passes. Don Meredith was the Dallas quarterback. Landry and Lombardi were the coaches. 2nd and 8. Favre bounces off Bennett.
I'll tell you, Darren Woodson was there to do something too. You know, Ken Rutgers is a pretty good player. He's a left tackle, and he's going to be blocking on Charles Haley. Now, you watch Rutgers here. He starts out and just goes head to head. Charles Haley's trying to bull rush him, and Rutgers just pushes him right to the ground.
That's a pretty good job right there.
That is. You just take on that bull rush, and then you direct its power downward.
Favre doesn't like what he sees, calls a timeout. They had 4 wide receivers in the game. Timeout, Green Bay. They have 2 left.
You in the midst.
Fox NFL Sunday is brought to you by Mitsubishi, the new thinking in automobiles.
Back at Texas Stadium. Bright sunny day in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And you can see those shadows starting to creep across the field. 3rd and 8. Favre gets away from Tolbert. Chased by Haley. And he throws it away. Sanders caught it.
Yeah, did you see that? That's not a bad thing. Tolbert starts it. Tolbert starts him on the run. Charles Haley is getting him, and he knows that he better get rid of that ball, so he throws it to Deion Sanders. Sanders caught it. He's going to return it. Should have brought it right up that sideline. Well, he played with Deion Sanders. Brett Favre, remember, he was at Atlanta with the Falcons when Deion Sanders was there. In fact, Sanders gave him the nickname of Country.
Right. Hendrick to punt it. High kick. Kevin Williams signals fair catch and makes it at about the 12. Cowboys will take over. 2:09 left to play in the first half. Deion in practice.
You know, Deion says that he thinks that he can play next week against the San Diego Chargers. And the Cowboys are thinking that they would like to get him back for the Atlanta Falcon game.
You notice he was wearing number 2. That's the number he wore in college. And his number, he was in Tallahassee last night at Doak Campbell Stadium, where his number was retired, the collegiate number 2.
Yeah, I mean, he's a great football player. He's a great baseball player. He's just a heck of an athlete, and he is really going to change this Dallas Cowboy defense when he gets in there.
Aikman to Emmitt Smith. Out to about the 15. Darius Holland made the stop. A whoosh. 2-minute warning coming. Emmitt slow to get up. but as he usually does, he gets up. 10-3 with 2 minutes to go in the first half.
Diet Dr. Pepper, the taste you've been looking for.
With the power of 210 horses and the traction of all-wheel drive, it'll turn more than heads. The Eclipse from Mitsubishi. See your dealer for great lease offers on all Eclipses, including turbo models.
Get ready for the biggest surprise of the new season. It's Al Bundy, as you've never seen him before. Say amen to the Reverend Al on a brand new Married with Children. Tonight at 9, 8 Central here on Fox. Cowboys 10, Packers 3, Dallas ball at their own 15. Akiman back to throw. Darryl Johnston. And the Moose rumbles out to about the 38. The Dallas first down.
We got a great combination here today, Pat. We got the Cheesehead and the Mooses. When they throw to the Moose, it's 2-minute warning. Now they're going without a huddle here. Anytime he gets the ball, all the fans wake up in any stadium.
Akiman. Pass complete to Michael Irvin. And Irvin scrambles down inside the 35 to the 34. George Teague made the stop.
Craig Newsome, the corner out there, missed him twice. He was covering him, the rookie corner. He missed him. He got up, he went, and he missed him again.
29-yard pickup. Akiman to Irvin. Timeout, Dallas.
Watch this. You're going to see out here in the right, Troy Aikman is going to throw to his right out here. Now watch 21. He comes up and he misses him. Then he chases him. Then he misses him again. That's 2 missed tackles on one play. So that's 3 bad things that happened to Craig Newsome. He's only a rookie, #1 draft choice. Gets beaten, misses a tackle, gets up and misses another tackle.
As you look at the Big E, Eric Williams still stretching that calf muscle. Coming up at the half, the Dockers halftime report. JB, Terry, Howie, and Jimmy with the scores and highlights of all the games around the league. 1:26 left to play in the first half. Dallas on the move, leading 10-3.
I bet they didn't think the Packers would only have 3 points in his first half.
Akiman to Emmitt Smith, and Emmitt to the 20.
There's one of those plays that shows how good this offensive line is. Emmitt Smith runs 10 yards and doesn't even get touched. Watch it. He's going to come right here on the left side, and you're going to see Nate Newton come out. You're going to see him block down. You're going to see Darryl Johnston make the block here. And Emmitt Smith runs 10 yards before anyone touches him. I mean, that's an amazing statistic that over half his yards are made before he's ever touched.
It's a Green Bay timeout.
In that timeout, they can work on Big Eric's leg, and you can see here, look at this. Before there's any contact, and that's up to date now, he makes 420 yards. Then after the first contact, he makes another 262. So he's made thus far 420 yards on the ground before he was ever touched. Now, some of that's Emmitt Smith, but a lot of that's the offensive line.
But he picks those holes so well. It would be a joy, I think, to play offensive line in front of him.
Yeah, and the other thing, I think, when you talk about the offensive line, you can't leave out the Moose, Darryl Johnston, because the offensive line is a big part of that blocking, but Darryl Johnston's lead blocking is equally as big.
You might as well put him in there with the rest of those guys.
I would, yeah. They ought to call him whatever they call them.
1st and 10, and Akiman back to throw it. Has time, throws the pass behind Michael Irvin. And that really is the first bad pass he's thrown all day.
And you never see Troy Aikman do that. I mean, he's open here, and usually Aikman throws it right where the guy's going, right in front of him. Here, Michael Irvin was open, and he just threw that one behind him. That was just a bad throw.
And that's something you don't say very often in his case.
Oh, and especially with Michael Irvin.
Right.
If he has any guy that he is really on the same page with, it's Michael Irvin and Jay Novacek.
He's at 11 out of 13, second and 10. Back to throw is Akiman. Outside to Emmitt Smith. Emmitt breaks away from one, gets down to about the 15. Craig Newsome finally made the stop.
One thing, it can be these Cowboy offensive guys too, because they're making a miss, but the Packers are not tackling well again. They're starting to miss tackles and get sloppy tackling in the second quarter.
Aikman gets the snap. The pass to Michael Irvin. Irvin close to a touchdown. To the one.
And there were some more missed tackles. You see on that play again, there was about 3 missed tackles. Again, you have to credit part of it to Michael Irvin, but the Green Bay Packer defense has not tackled well in the second quarter.
30 seconds left. This is a Dallas timeout.
But as you see the run there, there's a missed tackle there, there's a missed tackle there, and they finally get him on the third one, but that's when he's at the 1-yard line. If you're going to hit these slants, boom, right there, they have to be hit and tackled right there at the 7-yard line, not at the 1-yard line. I mean, this missed tackle caused 6 more yards. You see right there? That was Butler there. He comes up, he misses, and because of that miss, they get 6 yards.
Here's the flat pass before.
Yeah, that's the thing. And watch Troy Aikman there. He's pulling that leg out of there, and that thing. He's still aware of that calf muscle.
Very much so.
And he said before the game, he said, I can't run. He said if they put pressure on me and make me run, he said, I'm going to be out of there. They haven't really put pressure on him that has made him have to run.
Each team has 1 timeout remaining. First and goal from the 1. You'd have to expect Emmitt Smith. 30 seconds left. They still have 1 timeout left.
Yeah, so therefore having that 1 timeout left, they can run the ball.
2 tight ends. Touchdown Emmitt Smith. Emmitt, I think, landed on the back of his head.
He did.
And he might be dazed. He is dazed a little bit.
And now he wants to get in the shade there, but he did. He went over the top. And that's one thing about going over the top. You don't know where or how you're going to come down. This is goal line defense. Everyone getting low, getting low, getting low. You see him jump and dive and turn, get that ball in the end zone, and now he's going to come down and hit right there on the back of his head. Whew.
And again, Daryl Johnston did a heck of a job leading this play.
Well, and people say that these guys are overpaid and they're prima donnas and they make too much money. And I tell you, if you're tough and you do the things that this guy does, there's no way you can overpay Emmitt Smith.
You don't hear too many people say that about him.
I don't think so, no. They just gave him the ball, and he keeps all those footballs that he scores with. But whatever was knocked out of him is back in him now.
Enough to know he wants to keep the football.
And he'll get that, and then they mark it and they put it in the trunk. And when he gets through playing this game, he's going to have a heck of a lot of football somewhere. He doesn't even have his hat, though. He has no idea. He knows he got the touchdown. He knows the Cowboys are leading. He knows he has a ball in his hand, but he doesn't know where his hat is.
Bonio for the extra point. Novacek holding. 17-3. Looked like such a harmless drive that began way back deep in Dallas' own territory. They had a 2-minute warning coming up. They took that, and then all of a sudden they struck.
And that's what this offense can do. They get to a point where they're almost surgical. And it's just the combination of, Troy Aikman throwing the ball to Michael Irvin. or throwing it or handing it to Emmitt Smith. That's what the Cowboys are with the big offensive line and the Moose.
And that's what that drive was all about.
They're giving them some smelling salts to see if they'll open that stuff up again. It didn't work yet.
Yeah. I want another one.
I think you know if it doesn't work, then you go to another one, because when it works, that smelling salts, and you take that thing, it makes your head go backwards.
It makes you take a backward step. Here it is again. Look at Darrell Johnson smothered the pile in front of him.
And this is what made Emmitt Smith's head go backwards right there. I mean, you come in, that's landing head over heels.
Bonio lines the kickoff to one of the up men in the Packer wedge, who handles it well but doesn't do much with it.
I guess he landed heels over head.
Yeah.
But these guys are amazing. I mean, you just hate to keep saying that they're amazing, but I mean the toughness, just being methodical, just taking the ball down, controlling it. We talked earlier about how it was going to be about line play. And in this second quarter, the Dallas offensive line and defensive lines have really taken over this game.
They put the heat on Favre, and they've done a good job protecting Akiman. After that touchdown, by the way. Well, now we're underway. We're going to show you what happened after the touchdown. We will. Here's Favre back to throw it. Incomplete, intended for Morgan. This is on Smith's touchdown play.
You see, the play is over here, and everyone's checking in, and then Ron Stone wants a little. He's going to block Sean Jones some more.
Look at
and
the peacemaker.
Yeah, but Nate, you see, Nate is so big that when he puts his arm out, he blocks out 6 guys.
And he pushes them all backwards.
I know it. He forms a circle. He tells them, okay, everyone back here. I got control. I got control of things here. Everyone get behind me. 6 guys get behind Nate.
He is a circle.
You see him on his motorcycle yesterday? That's a sight.
I sure did. Bennett, the ball carrier.
Yep.
Haley tripped him up.
When old Nate gets control of a situation, this is how he comes to practice. Now, this is the sight. This is how he goes home after practice. There's an all-Madden guard.
It's still a sight.
Look at him. He's blowing that Harley out. He said he hopes his mother and grandmother don't see this. Oh, no, no.
You want your mother and grandmother to see this?
Well, see, he's laughing at me back here. What the heck's that all about?
Wonder what he's laughing at.
Still laughing.
Nothing more than the delightful reverie of sweet victory.
I got to go to the Super Bowl. I feel good, man.
It's the greatest thing to happen to pro football since the forward pass. Let there be football.
They say when a cowboy gets thrown, he has to get right back up. Last year, I took my share of hits. I may have been down. But if you think I'm staying down, get real.
Logo Athletic, authentic team apparel.
You're cruising.
And we talked about controlling the offensive line, the defensive line, the scrimmage, and so far the Cowboys have done a very effective job of that.
Yeah, and I think if the Packers are going to get back in it, they're just going to have to take over the lines of scrimmage. I mean, they're going to have to put some pressure on Troy Aikman. They're going to have to tackle better. I mean, their tackling in that second quarter was terrible.
Well, as you said during the first half broadcast, your comments, you were saying the tackling's been bad, but some of that's due to the running ability of Emmitt Smith.
Yeah, and there was a period there where the Cowboys were almost perfect. I mean, Troy Aikman, you'd never know that he was injured. And then he throws to Michael Irvin. He catches everything. Then he's making a miss, and Emmitt Smith will make a miss, and so on. But if they're going to do anything, they have to control the line of scrimmage. They have to tackle better, and they have to start getting some first downs, and then just working the ball down the field and getting a touchdown, and then of course keeping the Cowboys off the field.
As you said about that last Cowboy drive before Emmitt's touchdown, they were almost surgical.
Yeah, and they'll do that to you, and you have to take that away from them just by controlling the line of scrimmage.
First half statistics look this way. The Packers 24 yards rushing, the Cowboys 49. That may not seem like much, but that might just be enough. 168 yards passing, 217 total for Dallas against 115 for Green Bay.
And then again, if you're playing the Cowboys, here's a big one right here, where the Packers had the turnover, and that directly led to 7 touchdowns. I mean, to a touchdown and 7 points.
That was the interception thrown by Favre that Godfrey Miles came up with. Eric Williams is still trying to loosen up.
He's doing a heck of a job. You know,
Yeah,
if you look, he has the right knee is bad, and it's the left calf. And if you watch right here, he's blocking Reggie White, and watch him grab the left calf there. So he had that problem, and then he's over there trying to stretch it. They even have a machine down on the field, so he's over there trying to stretch it with a pro stretch thing, trying to stretch that left calf out. And every time he gets in the huddle, he stretches. And he stretches when he comes out here. He's been doing more stretching in this game than any game I've ever seen anyone stretch.
High short kick by Boniol, fielded by Jordan, who gets out to about the 33-yard line where the Pack will go on the attack.
And I think that's what the Pack has to do. I mean, Terry Bradshaw said at halftime that they're going to have to go deep. I agree with that, but I think they have to get control of the line of scrimmage first. You know, and just start working, getting some first downs first, you know, because you don't want to think that you have to go deep, and then you do something, you get one picked off, and then they just surgically take it away from you again.
Sometimes patience is a very difficult thing to achieve. Here's Favre back to throw it. Gets it outside to Brooks. Brooks will get a Packer first down. Out of bounds at the 45.
That Favre almost threw that one like he was mad at it. If you look, you can see where they threw in the first half. To the left, he was 0 out of 1, 4 out of 9 in the middle, and 4 out of 6 to the right. And that's where you think they'd work, because their right side, that's where Clayton Holmes is.
And of course, he's a right-handed quarterback. If it were Steve Young, you'd look at the other direction. Here's Favre to Bennett. Midfield and into Dallas territory. Stopped by Russell, Maryland.
And that's one of the things we're talking about, controlling the line of scrimmage. And offensive linemen will always tell you, if you want us to do that, you have to let us run. You have to give us some running plays. Let the guards pull. Let the double team. Let us get bodies on bodies and push them back. We can't pass protect the whole game. We got to run some at them.
Every offensive lineman always says that.
Always wants to run.
Yeah. Well, it gives them a chance to take out some of that venom, some of that frustration on the other guy. Favre, Morgan. Hit by Larry Brown and knocked backwards, and then help arrived on the scene.
Now there is the tackle. I mean, Larry Brown came up there, and that's the way a cornerback should tackle, because you're out there all by yourself. You're out there on an island. They're just going to throw a quick out here to Morgan. Now, Morgan has great speed. And you see Larry Brown looks. He takes a couple steps back. They just complete that ball at the line of scrimmage, and he comes up, makes the hit, and then holds on until some help gets there.
So it's third down. They need 4. Favre changing. Watch for the tight end. And here's the flag down. They took too much time.
That's why it's
delay by the offense. 5 yards, still third down.
Yeah, that's where, you talk about home field advantage and home crowd. That's where it is. You very seldom see that happen at home.
And that's what Mike Holmgren was talking about yesterday. How difficult it is to play here.
Yeah, and how difficult, it's tougher to pass protect on the road because your guys don't hear as well. It's tougher to audibilize because your guys don't hear as well.
3rd and 9 now, and Favre back to throw. He had 4 wide receivers. And the pass is incomplete. Robert Brooks was in that area, but so were 2 Cowboy defenders.
And he was covered well. He didn't have anything to throw to. He either threw that ball away or he forced it in there because there was nothing open there.
Well, when he throws it away, you better get ready.
It is thrown away.
Craig Hendrick back to punt. Kevin Williams deep for Dallas.
Although Deion Sanders did catch one of his throwaways.
Kevin Williams is about due. Not this time. As the Packers are down in a hurry. They hurried to kick, too, by Hendrick. Keith Crawford down to make the stop, and here's Aikman. And if his second half is like his first was, it's going to be pretty good.